Hi and welcome. My name is Claudia Miller with Keller Williams, Kansas City North, and I have the pleasure today of collaborating with Dan Sexton. He is part of the Jenny Burkhead group with Keller Williams, Kansas City North. And in the last year, I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to collaborate with Dan, not only about his experience in his career knowledge, but also the expertise that he brings to his clients. So let's get started, Dan.
Okay.
So how long have you been with Keller Williams?
Actually, Claudia, first of all, thanks for having me. This is a great opportunity, and working with you has been
Oh my gosh.
even a better opportunity, so thank you. Keller Williams, I've actually been with Keller Williams since I transitioned into real estate, which may be recent compared to many other agents that we get the pleasure to work with, but I'll be honest with you, let's just say that I've taken 25 years of leadership and put it into a new package.
Okay, very good, very good. And what made you decide, okay, I'm ready for a career change? And what made you decide that real estate would be the path that you would follow?
That's a loaded question,
right?
and so I'll give you a little bit of a loaded answer.
Yes.
So I will say that real estate was never something that was top of mind for me.
Okay.
I'd worked with great realtors over the years of my own experience, just with moving and moving family, etc. I spent years working as a lead in leadership within corporate America, and avoided layoffs for many years. Throughout my time there, I was invested in people, not necessarily, obviously invested in the fiduciary responsibility, protecting the company, all of the things that I'm paid to do. It was always the people, the passion that drove me, was just taking care of the team and protecting the team. Eventually, layoffs did come around, and I got selected. Well, let's just say it wasn't personal, it was business. There was many people that lost their job that day, and it was humbling. Shortly after, I tried to get back into corporate America and found, I did some reflection, Claudia, and just determined
So important, don't you think? Take time to just reset in a sense, or just to think.
That's exactly what I had to do. And you have to be in the right mindset to do that.
I agree with you.
And so it took a little bit of time, and then several months went by. I received a call from a friend who was in real estate, Jenny Burkhead, and we went out to dinner, and she had no idea that I was even still looking for work. During dinner, you could tell her wheels were turning, right? And she just looks at me across the table and says, "Have you ever thought about going into real estate?" And of course, I'd been in operations leadership for so long that that was the world I knew. And you pigeonhole yourself into this identity. And then I realized, I'm not a salesperson. She said, "I'm not looking for a salesperson." She says, "I'm looking for somebody that can come in and work well with people, and you would be great." And I said, "Well, let's carry on this conversation after dinner."
Okay, so that's how literally the conversation then continued.
Yes.
And then you decided what is best for me at this time. And then so you joined the team and then joined Keller Williams. And I know Jenny has been part of Keller Williams. What made you decide it was also a good fit for you?
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, culture in the workplace was always very important to me. I had the pleasure of working with several individuals, two people in particular, that really influenced my life as a servant leader. And watching them work and work with others was so inspiring. And these two people actually came to me after the layoff. And they complimented me in the same way I had been complimenting them for so many years. And it meant so much.
Absolutely.
And especially during a time where I really had lost my identity. And so just sticking with the culture, okay? I came to Keller Williams shortly after my meeting with Jenny. Introduced me to the team. I started attending some of the meetings. For me, culture can be defined by how people act when they're not on camera. And Keller Williams just had this culture that was centered around growth and helping others and lifting people up. And that's everything that I stood for. It's everything I had worked for so long. And I started to then, it really helped me start to regain the identity that I had lost.
Yes.
And then I started working closely with several people, and you being at the top of the list, and it just went from there.
Would you say that it just provided you clarity on a lot of things? Not only just even your mindset.
Yes. I never claimed to be the smartest person in the room, and we learn from humility. We learn when we're in the trenches. We bond with others when we're in the trenches.
I agree.
And clarity is a must.
100%, right? Because it literally, there's so much going on, and you're over here and over here and over here. When you take the time to really reflect and to take the time, like you said, when you're ready to think, that clarity just simplifies things, right? And then you're like, okay, this is what I need to.
Well, like I said, when I was laid off, I had just a very short notice, and it was during a conversation with many people and top leaders in the company, and I thought to myself during that entire time, how am I going to relay this message to my employees that have worked their tails off, and blood, sweat, and tears, and then at the end of the conversation, I found out that I was one of them that was losing my job, and I wasn't even able to relay that information to my employees. So it was, honestly, it shook me. It shook me quite a bit. And so re-engaging people in the right circle, it takes time. It takes time.
It does.
Right.
But it is so important to be surrounded by just people that want to grow and they want to support. And sometimes people just want to hear you or just listen to your story. And sometimes it's just that, right?
Yes.
Sometimes it's just that. You're not needing anything else but just somebody that can just listen to your story.
That's it. Everybody has something.
Everyone has something. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
What would you say now that you've been in real estate for a little while, what would you say is the biggest misconception about real estate?
Oh, well, I would say from a previous client perspective, I'll just go there. It is about the stereotype of sales. And I don't mean to, if you're a used car salesman and you're seeing this, then I apologize, but there's just this stereotype around sales, and that people are in this business for transactions. And some people are. You see it. You see the broadcasting, 4,000 houses closed, and all of the things, and that's fine. It's not my style. But the misconception is the fact that people are just trying to sell for the commission in the transaction. When, to be honest with you, and I didn't learn this until I was in the business and became a student in real estate, is that as you learn contracts and rules and regulations, and you sharpen your emotional IQ, because clients are very emotional, they're very vulnerable. It's a big time. It could be a life savings, it could be their first time buying a home. And it's complicated. It's a lot more complicated than going into the finance room at an auto auction. And to have somebody there that can essentially be an anchor for their clients. And I mentioned emotional IQ. Calm during the storm is what people do not see. That's what's misconstrued, is the transaction versus the servant of hiring a professional that truly cares.
That is so well said. And I think lots of times we hear like, oh, a real estate agent is buying property, but at the end of the day, we're not doing that. Our moral compass is to consult and to help our clients figure out what is it that they want to accomplish with their goals, and then how do we guide them through them and provide those options. And I feel like I've had the honor and the privilege to be working with you and with your first clients, and now to see how invested you are with that responsibility, because it truly is. It's not just the paperwork. It's so much more than that, because we understand the responsibility that we have as agents and as honestly representing the real estate industry as well.
That's right. And it is. And honestly, it's just, I could go on. Responsibility is really a great word. Is that it should not be taken lightly.
No, I agree.
It may be taken lightly if you're working with the wrong person, and I don't have anything bad to say around anyone. People of all types and all kinds of motivation out there. So just being there for one another, whether it's within the team, the giant Keller Williams group. It's such a fantastic circle to be in. And they said, Keller Williams, right? It was formed by agents for agents, right? That's something that it's true.
It's true.
It
is so true. So true. So then that leads us to really what has been the most rewarding part of it. And again, we could go on and on, but what if you had to say, okay, this has been the most rewarding, my new career or new opportunity?
This could be a very easy surface answer, and I'll try not to go into too much depth here. But the easy answer is I get to serve people. Okay, it's a little cliche, and it's true. But when you work and study your entire life to be a servant leader and to protect the people in your life, whether that's at work, whether it's at home, whatever it may be, we all have a protection quality about us. To take that education and experience and start over later in life,
Yes.
right? I like to tell people I'm in my 20s, but there's signs that may be a little bit more. Anyway, I don't tell anybody like this. But anyway, to take that and translate everything into a new industry. It could have been real estate, it could have been commercial real estate.
Yes,
it could
I
have
agree.
been anything, honestly.
Yes.
That's been the most rewarding piece because I really thought at one point everything that I knew, I had to just throw it away with my job title.
That's a good point, yeah.
But it has nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do with that. You're right.
At work, at corporate work, I was a number on a sheet, and that number got crossed out. In real estate, I get to choose who to connect with and who to work with.
Because you are 100% invested in whatever their goals and their commitments are for whatever their plans are in real estate, and so you are going to provide all aspects of it.
That's right.
And I think and you brought this to our attention earlier. It's a lot about emotional, because you have to be the one that stays steady, and because it is an emotional thing. But also there's a lot of other things, and I think for you, I feel like because you have that experience from the corporate world, you brought that experience and then just figured out, okay, what else do I need to learn in the real estate industry than to provide that service to my clients.
Right. And I've worked in a 24/7, 365-day environment my entire career. And so you have to set boundaries 100%. But then honestly, I also have, I have a different gear, which has been beneficial for me.
Yeah.
Strong point is just, I am available. If I don't know the answer, I will find out, or I will get you to the person that does know the answer.
Which is, it's key. Like in real estate, we can't possibly know every little aspect of it. But if we have a question or our clients have a question, we figure it out for you. So if somebody's thinking about like, okay, I'm thinking about getting into real estate, what advice would you offer them?
Call me. That's a good one. And there's so much advice I could give, but to do my best to simplify this is be true to yourself, do some reflection, find out where you are in life if you're ready. Because the number one thing about real estate, it's just like anything else, you have to be patient. It takes time. If you're wanting to get into real estate for the transactions and the money, you're getting into it for the wrong reason. Wait till you're in a different place in life, a different place emotionally. Quick fix for money, real estate is not the answer, okay? It's just like anything else. Like if you hire an all-star and you think they're going to start producing right away, or they're going to solve all of your problems in the office, that's fine. It's still going to take them 6 months to a year or longer to truly understand the business and dig into where they can be the expert that you hired for you in your systems. And so that's really, it takes a lot of patience. It takes a desire to be a servant to people, and it will come. It will come.
So as far as you see a lot of training, a lot of coaching, do this, do that, what advice would you give somebody that is like, let's say literally they just passed the test and like, okay, how do I get started? What advice would you give?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Surround yourself by the right people. You will quickly find out who those people are. With me, it's Keller Williams, Kansas City North. You start with the office. Start with people like you, your leadership team here in the office, the team that I was asked to join. I'm maybe newer to real estate, but I am surrounded by a wealth of knowledge and legacy.
100%.
And my teammates understand new construction and high-end luxury brands, and they've worked with every client of every sort. And I'm on the phone with my lead, Jenny, every day, multiple times. And that's her calling me as well. It's not just a one-way street.
How are things going? Is there something I can help you with today? Absolutely.
You can easily go down a rabbit hole with training and YouTube videos and all of the things, right? But it's just, don't do it on your own.
Figure out what exactly is your like business plan, and then have those mentor training to then guide that process.
I mentioned that with Keller Williams, one thing that focuses on culture. For culture, obviously, it's removing fear. That's how you would define, in few words, that's how you would define culture. Remove fear, right? But then when it comes to the education side of things, it's Keller Williams in particular is so focused on growth. And my father always told me, he's smiling down now, right? I get to use one of his wisdom quotes.
I love that.
But he always told me that, he said, son, the man that knows it all knows all he will ever know. And that resonated with me as a young man. I remember him telling me this when I was 10, 11 years old. And it's always just given me this sense of sit back and listen.
Yes.
And you'll find your people. You'll find the training. You'll understand who you want to be associated with, and maybe those that you just don't have chemistry with.
Yes.
But,
and I love that, and to be a listener, and then also ask the questions, right? Because that is, to me, that's key. Lots of times we want to go into a meeting, or we want to guide somebody by just talking, and sometimes it's just maybe taking that step back and saying, let me ask a question, and then I'm going to listen.
That's right. Well, the key to, I've always noticed in my experience that one of the key to being an effective leader is truly meeting people where they are at.
Yes.
And that has translated 1,000% now that it's essentially my business and my clients and my responsibility to use your word. And so if you can meet people where they're at, and it doesn't matter where they're at. If it's a first-time home buyer or somebody looking for a multi-million-dollar home, okay, you meet them where they're at.
Exactly, and you're asking questions and what is important to them, not to you, but to them, and then it's figuring out, then that's where the experience comes in, and that's where the support comes in of figuring out, okay, what are all the options that I can provide for my clients. And then once they've chosen whatever is best for them, then it's our job to guide through. I love that. Is there anything else that you're like, okay, I want to make sure that I share?
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
So I know you're aware, but for everybody else that may be watching or listening, I do write a weekly newsletter on LinkedIn, and it's called The Corner Post.
Love that.
It's not about real estate, okay? So bear with me. It's truly about transitioning to a new career after the age of 50, we'll say. And it does talk a little about my story. And honestly, I'm a few weeks behind because it's spring and I'm in real estate.
Yes.
And market's going really well right now.
Good. Which that's great for you, but no,
So I do not write it with AI, or it's not auto-generated. So it's me.
It's
so that's
you.
why if you see me miss a week or two, that's why.
Yes.
But anyway, usually 2 to 3 minute read, and it just gives some people some relatability and maybe some encouragement to take a different direction. And I've received so many direct messages and invites for coffee or lunch just to connect.
I was just getting ready to say, an opportunity probably to reconnect, right? Yes. And so if we're trying to find you on LinkedIn, where would we go?
Dan Sexton, Realtor.
Okay.
But if you Dan Sexton in Kansas City,
okay.
I think I'm the only one in Kansas City. So, but Dan Sexton, Realtor, because I've got to keep my brand out there. Thank you for asking that.
No, I like that. And then please just follow him on LinkedIn. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and just your knowledge and just honestly, your authenticity of who you are as a person. Because at the end of the day, it is about that. Right?
That's a nice compliment. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.